Okay, so I've already done my dissection. I've kind of broken things up into um, kind of their constituent parts. Um, so the first thing with the whole quarter was the entire thing was covered by this relatively thick epithelial layer. You can see in here, interestingly, there's still some of the roots for the feathers. I don't know if that shows up. And then underneath, you can see some of this residual, like fatty adipose tissue that's in here that just provides a layer of insulation, a barrier against the outside, but also a protective layer for the chicken. Underneath, in kind of the thigh joint, I found this large. So that's a better look at the adipose tissue. You can see kind of the squishy nature of it. Honestly not exactly sure why it was so thick in that particular area. And then I went ahead and pulled away all of the muscles from the lower leg bones. One of the things that I found interesting was in pulling it all apart that there were two leg bones. This would be essentially the tibia for us, and then this little guy would be the fibula, which is just not as developed in chickens for some reason. But I did not know that those both existed in a chicken. So here you can see these were the muscles of the lower leg there. You can see where as the muscles come down, they all ran into, and this all kind of ran together, but into their individual tendons connecting to the bone on this would be the bottom side here. So for us, these muscles would be kind of analogous to our soleus, gastroc muscles, the extensors, the peroneals on the front side, tibialis anterior, that kind of thing. You can kind of see this as everything runs down. It starts getting more and more fibrous and tendinous. You kind of got this white, milky, it's like a aponeurosis. Then on the top side, you can see some of the connective tissue that would have run across the knuckle of the bone here to help the joint move and glide a lot easier. This joint would go here. You know, it's a standard hinge joint. On here, it started to dry out a little bit, but you can kind of still see on the bones the hyaline cartilage that's surrounding the bone, just allowing the muscles and everything to glide across it a little smoother. Up into the hip, you can see the hip bone here. This would be the femur, and you can see that kind of ball and socket motion in there. I went ahead and left this joint together. Also, on the top side, you can see where I cut into the bone a bit. And now you can see that red bone marrow under here where the blood is produced in the body, your red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, so on. And interestingly, it looks like this is maybe a lymph node in here, this kind of darker, squishy material. Then you have the muscles on the top side. I kind of had to cut these up a little bit more to get them removed from the hip bone. You can see the clear striations in the muscle fibers here, the typical skeletal muscle fiber construction. And then moving back to the lower side, you can kind of see this, like the epimysium here that's surrounding the entire muscle body and kind of connecting or keeping the muscle belly separated from the other muscles so that it can move smoothly. So the last thing that I thought was interesting was in dissecting, I didn't realize that chickens have a kneecap. So this fit right into this groove on the front end. And that was just something I was unaware of. So kind of in summary, you can see, all of the different layers as they would be on a human. You have your skin, the underlying protective adipose tissue. You have your musculature with your tendons and ligaments. And then you have the structure in the bones. So that was what I found in my chicken dissection.